Sarah, please forgive me. I made a terrible mistake when I left you.
Leo?
Yes, it's Leo. I made a terrible mistake when I left you. I found out that I'm sterile. I can't have children, and it's all my fault. I shouldn't have left you. I miss you so much, and I want you back.
What are you talking about, Leo?
I know I hurt you, but I never stopped loving you. Please, give me a chance to make things right.
Leo, I don't know what to say. I've moved on with my life. I can't just forget all the pain you caused me.
I know, and I'm sorry. I just had to tell you the truth. Please, Sarah, think about it. I'll do anything to make it up to you.
I'll need some time. I really don't know what to say. I'm happy now, Leo. I am in a new relationship.
What? You've moved on already? How could you do this to me?
What do you mean? You broke up with me. You were the one who left.
Listen, Sarah, I still love you. Leave your man and come back to me, and I promise you'll be happier than you've ever been.
My name is Sarah, and I found the love of my life at the age of 37. However, he was not my first love. My first husband, Leo, was someone I was married to for 6 long years. When I got married to him, I was overjoyed. I thought I had found my happily ever after with Leo. We had a beautiful wedding, and in the beginning, everything was perfect. We were both so in love and happy. We traveled together, explored new places, and made wonderful memories. But as time went by, things started to change. After a few years of trying, we discovered that I was unable to bear children. The news was a devastating blow to both me and my ex-husband Leo. We had always dreamed of starting a family together, and the realization that it may never happen was heart-wrenching. At first, Leo tried to be open to other options like adopting or surrogate, but as time went on, he began to change. He became distant and withdrawn, spending more and more time with friends and less time with me. Whenever something in his life didn't go well, he would blame it on me. He constantly put me down and made me feel like I didn't deserve to be happy just because I couldn't bear children. One day, Leo sat me down and told me that he wanted a divorce. I was shocked and utterly devastated. I couldn't believe that the man I had loved and devoted my life to was leaving me because of something that was beyond my control. As the weeks went by, our friends began to take sides, and it felt like everyone was on Leo's side. He was an extremely sociable and likable person, and I began to feel like an outsider in my own life. The divorce was painful and left me feeling lost and alone. I struggled to find my place in the world and wondered if I would ever find love again. But despite the pain, I knew deep down that I deserved to be happy. I spent some time focusing on myself and my own happiness. I started a new job, joined a yoga class, and reconnected with my childhood friends. And then, as time went by, I started to gain back confidence and that happy glow. It was as if the universe wanted to reward my progress with something meaningful and long-lasting. One day, I met someone new. His name was David, and he was kind, gentle, and understanding. We started dating, and I felt like I was finally able to let go of the pain of my divorce and start moving forward. Of course, I was hesitant and scared at first. After all, my previous marriage had ended in heartbreak and divorce. But David was different. From the moment we met, I felt like we had a deep connection. He listened to me, understood my fears and insecurities, and never judged me. He was patient and kind, and I felt safe with him. As we continued to form a deep connection, I began to realize that David was the love of my life. He made me laugh, challenged me, and supported me in ways that I never thought were possible. Before I knew it, we were talking about getting married. I was ecstatic, but also a little afraid. What if history repeated itself? What if I couldn't give David the family he wanted? But David reassured me that he loved me for who I was. And so, we agreed that we would take it slow. We moved in together and started planning to get married when we were ready before adopting a kid. Everything was perfect until one day. I was sitting alone in the living room when the phone rang. I was taken aback when I saw the numbers on the screen. I had tried to delete him from my memory, but bits and pieces were still there. I knew that it was Leo's number. I hadn't talked to him in a few years.
Hello? Sarah, please forgive me. I made a terrible mistake when I left you.
I was so surprised. I couldn't even comprehend what he was saying at first. All I could mutter out of my gut was his name. Leo?
Yes, it's Leo. I made a terrible mistake when I left you. I found out that I'm sterile. I can't have children, and it's all my fault. I shouldn't have left you. I miss you so much and I want you back.
What are you talking about, Leo?
I know I hurt you, but I never stopped loving you. Please, give me a chance to make things right.
Leo, I don't know what to say. I have moved on with my life. I can't just forget all the pain you caused me.
I know, and I'm sorry. I just had to tell you the truth. Please, Sarah, think about it. I'll do anything to make it up to you.
I'll need some time. I really don't know what to say. I'm happy now, Leo. I'm in a new relationship.
What? You've moved on already? How could you do this to me?
What do you mean? You broke up with me. You were the one who left.
Listen, Sarah, I still love you. Leave your man and come back to me, and I promise you'll be happier than you've ever been.
Please, Leo, I said what I had to say. Please move on with your life. I'll have to hang up now. Sorry. During that conversation, I was so conflicted. There were so many feelings that I felt like I was on a roller coaster of emotions. Part of me still cared about Leo and wanted to believe that we could make things work. But as I thought about all the times he had belittled me and made me feel like I wasn't enough as a woman, I realized I couldn't go back to him. David was there for me through it all, supporting me and encouraging me to make the decision that was best for me. I knew that I wanted to stay together with David and be straightforward with Leo about my decision. Despite the emotional turmoil, I thought that I handled the conversation as well as I could. Leo's reaction to my decision to move on with my life was one of devastation. It seemed like he had always hoped that we could reconcile and start anew. But I had made up my mind. I couldn't go back to a life where I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells, trying to please someone who didn't value me for who I was. Despite my firm resolve, there were times when I felt a pang of guilt for hurting Leo. He tried to reach out to me several times, but I knew that it was better for both of us if we kept our distance. It was painful to watch him struggle with the breakup, but I knew that I had to put my own needs first. Despite my best effort to avoid him, we still occasionally ran into each other in town. After our divorce, he moved away to a different city, and that's why I never bumped into him before. But now that I saw him so often, I suspected that he might have moved back. Each time I could see the pain and devastation in my eyes. But everything was too late. I had moved on and found happiness with someone else. One day when I was at home alone, I heard the bell ring. For some reason, I immediately felt alert, as if my gut feeling was trying to tell me something. Despite those feelings, I still went and opened the door, and to my absolute surprise, there he was, standing in front of me. It was Leo. As I saw Leo at a close distance for the first time in so many years, I couldn't help but notice how much he had changed. His once thick dark hair was now thinning and graying at the temples, and he had put on a few extra pounds. I couldn't believe that someone would change so much in just a few years. While I had been looking more alive than ever, it seemed like our divorce didn't work too well for him. He started to speak. His voice had grown deeper with age, as if he had been smoking. I felt a pang of sympathy for him, but I couldn't help but keep my guard up.
Sarah, hi. How have you been?
Good. How did you know my address?
We have a lot of common friends, remember?
I don't talk to any of them anymore.
Well, that's a shame. They still care about you.
I honestly doubt that. Listen, Leo, why are you here? You know that I'm living with someone.
I know, I'm just here to reconcile. It would be nice if we could be friends.
I'm sorry, I cannot do that.
Come on, Sarah, don't you want to leave the past behind?
Please move on, Leo. I'm really happy right now. Goodbye. I was really close to closing the door in front of him, but he reached out and blocked it. I was taken aback and my heart started to beat like crazy. When I looked at Leo's face again, I recognized the man that I knew, the selfish, angry look that I would never forget. I felt like I was in danger.
I have something to show you. Just let me in.
No, Leo, you are not coming into my house.
I'm calling the police. Very well then. If you want to play hard to get, I'll just show you here.
Leo reached into his pocket and pulled out a bunch of photos. My heart sank when I went through each of them. There were multiple pictures of us in bed together when we were married. As I was still in shock, Leo kept talking.
I could send them out to other people, you know, including your new darling. But there's a way for you to make it up to me. You could just give me half of the house's worth of money. I need some help right now, but I'll leave you alone as soon as you give me what I want.
I was still looking at the pictures in my hands, shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't believe that he had kept them all these years and was now using them as a tool to manipulate me. His threat to send them to everyone I knew, including David, made me feel sick to my stomach. I couldn't imagine the embarrassment and shame that would come with having those intimate moments exposed to the world. As if that wasn't enough, Leo's demand for half of the value of our old house was cruel. It was a blatant attempt to take advantage of me and the situation. I knew that I couldn't give in to his demands, but I also couldn't risk having those pictures leaked. I felt trapped, like there was no way out. But I knew that I had to stand up for myself before anything. I am not doing that, Leo. I owned that house before we even got together, and it was rightfully mine.
Be careful with your decisions, Sarah. Do you really want the world to see these pictures? I cannot give you the money, that's all. And I'll not leave you alone until you do.
After that, Leo turned around and walked away, leaving me in disbelief. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that the man I once loved was standing in front of my door to blackmail me after leaving me when I needed him the most. Leo was not just a terrible partner, he was a terrible human being. And it was high time I saw him as who he really was. After my encounter with Leo, I was feeling really shaken and vulnerable. The thought of those pictures being exposed was constantly on my mind, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread that had settled deep within me. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, the next day, I received a call from the adoption center where my and David's profile was being considered. They informed me that someone had made a complaint against me, accusing me of having abusive traits. As a result, they had to put my profile on hold, and I was not allowed to take on any new adoption interviews until the investigation was completed. My heart sank as I heard the news. I had dedicated my life to being the most loving person I could be, in spite of all the pain Leo caused me in the past. And so, being accused of abuse was beyond comprehension. I knew that Leo was behind this and that he had somehow found a way to make my life even more difficult than it already was. Just when I thought there was no way out, I found hope in David. When he learned about what happened, he was furious. He was a well-trained lawyer, so he was adamant about helping me sue Leo. I didn't even mind the photos Leo had of me. He simply threw all of them away in the trash. It was really hard for me to tell him all of the details, but he was there for me through it all. Thanks to him, I was able to stay strong for what was to come. The few days after that, Leo kept texting me, demanding that I give him what he wanted. He threatened to post the pictures online if I said no again, and even went as far as to call me names and belittle me. For a moment, I felt myself caving in. The fear of those pictures being exposed was too much to bear. But then, with David beside me, I stayed calm and thought hard about the matter. I realized that Leo was only begging to be back with me because he was broke and needed someone to financially support him. He didn't care about me or our past together. He only cared about what he could gain from me. I took a deep breath and mustered up all the courage I had left. I texted Leo back, telling him that I would not be giving him anything and that if he continued to harass me, I would involve the authorities. I also mentioned how much a lawsuit would cost him if he posted them online. They would have concrete proof that my claims were right and he would lose the case. Just as I thought, he backed off for a few days. Then, with the help of David, I decided to sue Leo for harassment and blackmail. I had kept all the messages that Leo had sent me when we were married, proving him to be extremely verbally abusive. It was hard to read through them, to relive the pain and suffering that I had endured. But I knew that they would be crucial in the case against him. David helped me hire a great marital lawyer and filed a lawsuit against him, seeking justice for all the wrongs he had done to me. The case was long and grueling, but in the end, justice was served. With all the evidence stacked against him, Leo was forced to pay a large sum of money or face the consequences in jail. The pictures he had of me were soon confiscated, and I never had to see them again. Leo's true colors were exposed in front of all our friends and family. Many of our old friends reached out to apologize to me for taking Leo's side before. It was nice to reconnect with some of them, but I kept my distance nevertheless. I wanted to spend more time and energy on my little family. With my name cleared, David and I adopted an adorable kid together. We planned for a beautiful wedding and a happy, harmonious life ever after. It has been the life that I had ever dreamt about, with the man that's almost too good to be true. I love my life right now, and I can't wait for all the amazing things the future has in store for us.